Well, that's the year done. Would you like some?
Oh, we're live already.
Here we are.
Oh, jeez.
Feeling very alive right now. So,
Someone wrote a song about
that's
that.
the end of a year.
Is it?
Yeah, well, tomorrow obviously is the final day, but this is our last one for our last wine tasting. So we thought we'd start with a beer tasting first, because really this one's more about saying thank you to all the people that have watched us, and thank you to all the people that supported us this year. And if you wonder what we actually do, like people sort of look at me and go, "What do you actually do in your shop?" Essentially this. I find it works really well.
As work goes.
But also like to thank all the people, actually remind you all the people who are friends and family who are away from us due to this weird ass time that we've had this year. 2020 has honestly sucked big, hairy dog things. But yeah, I have to say, the people we've had around us this year have been pretty good, pretty lucky. I mean, we've had a really good team. Everyone's done really well, and I think we've managed to get through it without too much pain and suffering.
With a new POS?
With the new pod, we didn't know.
That seems like a lifetime ago.
Yeah, that was a learning experience and a half. Here, you have a brand new chill system. And by the way, the world's gone to hell. Yeah. So, yes. So, we're going to start this quickly. We'll talk quickly about this beer. This is Boltz's Hazy. Yeah, Hazy. New one we've got in. It's been around for a little while, but I thought I'd give it a shot and try it. I was going to say, Pat, what do you think of it?
No.
Yeah.
No, it's all right. It's pretty not as flavorful as I thought it would be.
Oh no, it's pretty good. I'm not. It hasn't got massive amounts of fruit.
I am coming off the Tui's new though, so yeah, my mouth is full of flavors, so it's pretty hard to match up.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm just googling flavour.
Yeah, flavor profile for Tui's new. None.
Sugar.
Insipid.
Love that word.
Yes. Oh no, I think it's pretty good actually. It's got a nice nose to it.
As IPAs go, it's actually quite.
It's got a little bit of passion fruit.
That's what that is.
Yeah.
Yes. I thought so.
I reckon
It smells like when Mum's making her special cake thing and she puts passion fruit on.
And lemon curd, obviously.
I can get a bit of pineapple and banana.
Yeah, it's got those real tropical notes to it. So yeah, I think it's a good one. So Dan, yours looks slightly different from ours.
How's it going?
How's it going?
Goes good.
It goes and good.
Is that German?
German style. Goes
That's
up.
a cherry
Oh,
goes.
It's
It's not as sour as I thought it would be. I thought it'd have a bit more sour still. Otherwise, it's got real flavour.
Yeah.
This thing's got flavour. Buttload of it.
Bucket load of flavour.
I think it's taking a stab at my Tui's new.
I'm just.
Oh, in comparison to the last one, it's really sour.
Yeah, well, it would be.
Yeah.
It'd be like that.
I don't actually mind that IPA.
That's
I mean, I
good.
wouldn't have a carton of it in one sitting.
I think
In one sitting, but I have it over a couple of days.
Over a couple of days.
Fine, yeah.
Every now and again, as a wedgie,
it's nice as like an end of work, still sunny out.
Yeah. Actually, I will say the good thing about that How's It Goes by Ben Spoke is actually that it's a good palate cleanser. So it's quite a nice palate cleanser. But, so, do we have a theme for today's wines? We've chosen them.
Yeah.
What was the theme that we worked out there, Pat?
Quickly choose 4 bottles of wine. Yeah.
That was the interesting one.
It's a medium body red,
Not a fan. Okay, so light to medium body reds of alternate varietals. We were talking about, we were looking at trying to do blended wines, but we decided to go with the alternate varietal thing because it's something that Pat needs to get his head around. So, we're going to have to grab some glasses. So that'll be you, Chatty.
Oh, is that because I'm on this side?
Yeah, it's because you're on that side.
Okay, great.
So, we're going to start with Barbera.
One more?
One more.
Is that my side? Oh, that's a big reach.
That is a big reach.
The table used to be centralised under it. It was quite easy to reach.
Yeah.
Is that what that is?
I don't know what happened.
So there was a shift in the force.
It was. We went to the dark side.
2020 again. Blame 2020.
Actually, I'm a bit concerned because next year is 2021. And it kind of did.
and it's the start of Mad Max.
W.
Yeah, that's when Mad Max started. And I think think it was around the same times when Blade Runner started as well.
No, that was. Actually, it might have been actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to look at this is a Italian varietal done by Italian heritage winemaker in Victoria. So Dal Zotto's Barbera. All right, so anyone have a guess? Well, obviously it's Italian, but where in Italy Barbera is found?
Probably in some little town called San Gervais.
Northeast. Yeah,
It's good to see I've trained these people for years and they've come up with ideas. No,
Yeah, it's near Montepulciano.
no, it's actually completely other side of the country.
Yeah,
Near
it's
Treviso.
northeast, isn't it?
Treviso again is on the north
That way.
east. No, it's on the northwest in Piedmonte.
Oh.
Piedmont, around Milan, Tirreno, Piedmont. So Barbera is actually the main bulk red grape they do in the region. Now, Pat, I'm going to ask you a question. What in the Piedmont region, in the northwest, that is in the top northwest of Italy, what is the major red grape varietal that's renowned up there? We've done it. We've done
Montepulciano.
no Montepulciano to the side. Sangiovese is in the central region. We've had it from Tarawara in Yarra Valley. They do a version of it. Begins with N.
Oh, Nerdello.
No, that's just
Nebbiolo.
Nebbiolo, which makes what wines coming out of Piedmont? They're special names. They're called the killer bees.
Barolo.
Barolo, that's
Yeah.
correct. Barolo and Barbaresco.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So 1 point, Pat.
Yeah, I was
down.
just playing Italian sounds.
Yeah. The easy way to remember it is you're a wrestling fan. The Killer Bees, remember them?
No, but I did like Wu-Tang.
Okay,
I
Wu-Tang,
did like
yeah.
Killer Bees.
Okay, so the Killer Bees from Wu-Tang, whatever works for you. So in there you've got the three Bs. You've got Barbera, Barolo, and Barbaresco. So Barbera is what we're drinking now. This is the major red varietal that's grown pretty much all over the northwest of Italy, around Piedmont region. Nebbiolo is actually grown particularly in a region called Langhe, and you've got Lamora, which is the hill city, which that's Barbaresco around the higher altitudes, and Barolo is a lot more towards the bottom of that area. So they're the three major varietals in that region. There is a myriad of other grapes, like Garvey and all the rest of there, but think if anyone asks you about what are the major grape varietals in that northwest of Italy, then you've really got Barbera and then Nebbiolo as the grape, Barbaresco and Barolo. So, what is Barbera? Well, Barbera obviously is a red grape, similar with the structure for Cabernet without the heavy tannins. It's a lot more fruit driven, it's a lot round wine, but it has a very high acidity. Pretty much all Italian wines are going to have fairly high acidity. So whenever you're drinking an Italian wine, in fact if you ever get a wine that you go, oh, the acidity is quite high on that, and it still shows finesse and well made, it's probably going to be looking towards that Italian varietal style. Italy is renowned for having a higher acidity to it. So,
Steak.
yeah. Oh, when we were over there, we actually went, friends of ours who were staying with them, they said, oh, this is our bulk wine. So they take their litre bottles down, €2 a litre to fill this bottle.
Well, good.
And I'm like, ooh, that's good. And I said, that's a pretty good price. And they said, oh, sometimes we splurge and get the reserva stuff, and that's like $8 a litre. So they're going, I just so want to move here.
It's like cocktails in Thailand, really, isn't it?
Oh, it's just insane.
It's interesting.
If you're phrasing it like buying by the litre, it doesn't sound too posh though.
It doesn't, but surprisingly, it's really, really good. And the thing is, the only difference between the stuff we were drinking from them and the stuff that we import in is that those co-ops that produce Barbera bottle it, label it, and sell it. Now, once you've bottled it and labelled it, then you've got probably another €2 essentially. So per litre, it's now gone up by €2. From there, they've got to package it into boxes and send that over to Australia, even sending it by shipping container. So that €2. So let's just say it's €2 a litre to start with. Another €2 for the bottling and packaging. Another €1 for the boxing and labelling and artwork. So that's €5. €5 goes out of Australia with a tax on it of about, I think it's 10%. So it's now $5.50 comes into Australia with a 10% tax on it. So it's $6.05. And then on top of that, we set wet tax, so that's 30%. So that goes to $8.05. And that's without any profit for anyone. So if someone wants a 30% profit on that, then it's going to be $12 a bottle. Oh, by the way, the transformation from euro to dollars is about half. Well, it's not half. It's about 2/3, I think it is. 66 cents. So you've got what's that? So that's 8. That goes to 12. That's €12. Then you try and make a profit on it when it comes into the country. €12 comes in, and so you want to make 30%. So this goes to €16. At €16 a bottle, or dollars a bottle. $16 a bottle. You've made your 30%. You sell it to us with a GST to it. It's $17.60, and then from $17.60 we sell it for $25, making about 30%. So and that's remember we started with €2 a litre back then, which goes to about $1.50 a euro, $1.50 for 750 a bottle. So when people start talking about high prices of wines, every stage, everyone's taking a cut.
Everyone's going to make a profit.
Everyone's going to make a profit. It's not worth it. So we just talk €2 a litre, and it comes in at $25 here. And of course, an Italian person comes over, I'm buying it to you. What? That's ridiculous. That's a rip-off.
But they had to pay for a plane ticket to get here.
Yeah. So you can see where this goes. The shipping costs for it. By the way, that's without shipping costs. That's only a 10% out, 10% in. Which might be mitigated if there's a free trade agreement going, which might get down to 5%. But as I said, so that's how wine scales up in price really quickly. So when I was over there, I was drinking Barolos and Barbarescos at about €25 a bottle, and over here they're 85. So it's one of those things that's very, very difficult to bring imported wine into the country at good quality to sell. So anything that sits on our shelves, we try, and we view that as being a really good expression of that style, or we'll try it and go, actually that'll probably sell just because of the palate weight that it's to it.
So I don't have too much frame of reference for the Barberas yet.
So this one here is actually a good solid Barbera. I always find Barbera's got a little bit of this is the wrong word to use. Don't ever use this in your exams. But you have a little bit of a furry tannin to it. It's so on your.
You probably shouldn't open with it. Tastes furry.
No, it tastes furry. It's not good. But in the tannins, you get you got lovely sweet red cherry fruit in there, and then it turns a bit of a maraschino cherry flavour. Then it goes into sort of. This is Australian, by the way, so this is not going to have that high acidity that we're talking about. But it's actually got that prickly sort of tannin. It's kind of like stiff fur. That's how I think of it.
I'm not getting that.
No, that's my frame of reference.
I find it really white-bodied actually. It's quite watery almost. It's not.
Well, if you look at the colour of it, it's like a really ruby.
I just want to eat steak. It's saying steak.
It seems to it's got like a Swedish edge to it.
Neutral.
Right?
Neutral.
It's
No,
not Swedish.
No, not.
No, Swedish.
Sorry,
Pat's subtitles will be inserted later on.
That being said, yes, it is a little bit lighter and watery. I do get that.
I should have said fruity,
but it's kind of like it's like a juby fruit.
It's not overpowering in any way, shape, or form.
It's actually very similar to the beer that goes in beer. In that where you sit there going, you see the colour, you look at the colour of that beer and you go, oh, this is going to be pretty full on, and you drink it and it's quite light and it's delicate and got a bit of balance to it. The Barbera is actually a really lovely grape, and in fact it's a very underused, utilised grape.
As an uncouth Australian, that is the first time I've even heard of that grape.
Yeah, no, trust me, you're not the only one. There are some absolute stunning grapes out there that just won't see the light of day because either we're a bad area to grow it, or we're a country that won't be able to pronounce it. If I said, hey, let's go some Colorino, you're looking to go, what are you talking looking at now?
Pizza.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, jam.
Oh, jam pieces. So, as it's an Italian-themed sort of thing, we'll do that. That's great.
It is.
That's right. So,
It's not a margarita though.
No.
We've got tatties on it.
It's got tatties on it. I like tatties. Yeah. So, just quickly, what's Caddy, what are you picking up? You like the steak concept of it?
Yeah, it's a watery meat. You want meat with it, but it doesn't hang around for a long time.
Actually, I do find it finishes quickly.
Yeah.
So the length of it.
Yeah.
So when it comes to evaluating wine, you essentially look for balance. So does it show balance? Yeah, it's got balance. It's balanced. It's not overt in any particular aspect. It's not hot with alcohol. It's not too fruity. It has got enough acidity to balance the fruit off. It's really all primary characters, but it's fairly simple with its primary character. So it is balanced. The length that it has in the back is quite short.
Yeah.
Intensity, as you said, with wateriness, it is not an intense style of wine, but still, it's got some intensity there to it as well. And complexity. Did we find it to be a particularly complex wine? Not really.
No.
Simple is good. And in this case, is this typical of Barbera? Yeah, it is. So its typicity is there.
But do you got to consider it like?
Say that word again.
Typicity.
Love it.
So do you got to compare that with Australian style Barbera or with the actual Italian?
Even with Italian style Barbera.
So yeah,
There will be a lot more darker fruits than an Italian style Barbera. But it is very typical of the style because of that prickliness of the tannin.
Yeah.
I find a little bit of furriness. I know you didn't, but I found a little bit of furriness in there as well. That's what I relate Barbera to. And this is just a personal thing. You might try Barbera in Italy and find completely different flavour profile. That's what I see. So,
What's the
Is
oak?
this-
What's the oak? Right at the back, I'm getting a bit of
I've got none.
No?
Well, there might be some, but it must be old oak just to give a layer of texture to it. Barbera generally isn't a heavily oaked wine at all. I haven't tried really top end expressions of Barbera, but for the most part, it's old oak.
Is it made to be drunk pretty young?
Yep.
Yeah.
Made to be drunk young. It's an easy drinking
Yeah.
style of red.
Yeah.
Goes really well with meats and pizzas and things like that. It's all a very good wine to have, but you can drink it regularly.
Yeah.
It's a really good on the brand of wine.
Yeah, it seems like a good daytime wine.
Yeah. So, does it have balance?
You
Yes,
can
it
choose when to
does.
start, by the way, 8:30 a.m.,
Yeah.
9:30 a.m.
Yeah, I like to have 6:30. It's good balance, short length, intensity's mediocre, complexity very simple. You'd rate this as a good wine.
Yeah.
You wouldn't rate it as an excellent wine or a superb wine, but you'd rate it as a good wine.
I think it hits the price point pretty well.
It
Like
does.
What was it?
$30.
It's about, is it 30? Yeah, it's about 30 bucks for this.
Yeah, I'd have to pay 30 for that if you're.
Just
If
a
you're
good
looking
tasty
for-
wine, you just shove it in, drink
Yeah,
it.
and it's something different. Like,
Standard table wine.
Yeah.
it's good to take like a wine that people haven't really tried before to like a party or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, because you're always going to remember something's like you can't pronounce.
But I mean, like, it's got some really, like, blackberry fruit in the back of it.
I do have an Auntie Barbara,
Yeah.
by the way.
Barbera.
Oh, sorry. I
Barbera.
mispronounced it.
We're actually going to go to another Italian varietal now. Sangiovese. Right, Pat. Now, you know a little bit about Sangiovese.
Go.
Oh, by the way, anyone, if you ever do open a wine and it does pop, don't stress too much. During the winemaking process, carbon dioxide does go back into wine because, when you ferment, it becomes
Gassy.
alcohol and sugar is being broken down to by yeast, turns into alcohol and carbon dioxide. So any carbon dioxide generally is taken off, but it'll sometimes go back into the wine, and over time it'll express from the wine, and you open it, it'll pop. It doesn't mean it's going to do anything. Okay?
Oh, there's another one.
That's not ours. That's definitely not ours.
Do you know when your next lot of Charles Pelletiers coming in?
Tomorrow.
I'm in love with you.
That's good.
He gets offers like that every
I
day,
know,
by the way.
it's amazing when we're doing a live stream and
This-
people
this
ask questions.
one's
It's good.
out on the by itself.
Yes, it's probably his for something to eat. I'd probably just leave it there.
Well, he's lucky.
Oh, sorry. There it is.
I'd like to thank all my customers for being here.
That was interesting.
Yeah,
Just a random
floating pizza. I'll just take your pizza away. Anyway, so tell me all about Sangiovese, Pat. All you know.
So
It begins with S,
yeah,
followed by an A.
yeah. So that one I'm pretty sure is the one from the north. No, it's from the heel, isn't it? Oh no, which one was that? Sangiovese, is that the northwest, northeast one?
Tuscany, right in the centre.
Oh.
Now, Sangiovese is grown all over Italy.
Yeah.
All over Italy.
I know it's the main component of Chianti.
There you go.
Yeah, which is the main kind of varietal of Italy.
You didn't do your homework, haven't you?
No. I did do homework as a kid, like, definitely not doing it as an adult. My homework is drinking wine. And,
That is homework.
yeah. Okay. Sweet.
You can probably claim it on tax too as a work expense.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I can really think about right now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What's the flavour profile of Sangiovese, generically?
I get like pretty. I get more of like a medium body out of it. It seems really fruit driven. For the Australian style that I normally try, because I normally eat drink the El Nino Sangiovese. I get like light bright red fruits.
Yep.
Not too much tannin. Not too much acidity.
Yep.
Yeah.
So red cherries, mint with a savoury palate. That's essentially it. So red cherry is essentially what you're going to pick up. Mint, so you get a slightly herbal quality in there as well. And some people get thyme, some people get sage, but I generally get mint. Red cherry mint, and it's got a savoury finish. It always is. That's why it's such a really good food wine. The savoury finish in the back palate goes really well with tomato-based dishes and pizza. So that's the simplest way to.
So it's like a good red wine if you're going to make a Italian style like pasta or something.
Yeah,
like that.
if you're having chicken cacciatore, having pizza, having bolognese, perfect for it.
You do actually get a little bit of mint when you sniff it.
Mm-hmm.
I get the mint when I sniff it, but I get more like parsley or
So it smelled vegetable.
yeah.
Vegetation.
Some sort of green thing in
Yeah,
it.
but I couldn't have picked what it was. And it's got a bit of earthiness to it.
Yep, and that's that savouriness that we're talking about too.
Definitely the other side of the tongue to that.
Yeah.
So really, when we're talking Sangiovese, and this is La Prova Sangiovese. La Prova is actually coming from, I believe it's the same place, similar place as the other one, actually. Sorry. I should have done my research before we started this too, really. Adelaide Hills, oh okay. So this is Adelaide Hills, South Australia. 2019, so it's very young and fresh. No, it's got a year on it, I guess, now. I'm trying to forget 2020 for the most part.
Just move on.
Let's move on, fast forward.
Like that movie, The Click.
Yeah. Yeah, except I know what happened in that movie and I don't want to talk about it. I'm going to just fast forward till the next time we have, and then 10 years later. And look, honestly, so essentially what we're talking about for is what?
Caliber beer. Are we getting that in?
At some point.
Okay, cool. Alright, yeah, that's correct as well.
Commercial brought to you by Cody.
Yeah. Caliber beer.
Yeah, coming soon.
Coming soon.
It's actually brouhaha. So, Sangiovese is actually, as I said, from the central area of Tuscany originally. It's been transported. Now, we've had a lot of Italian influence coming to Australia. The major regions are looking in the Central Range of New South Wales, so Cowra, where we decided to hold them prisoner and try to shoot them. And then you go further down, and especially into Victoria. And then moving across into, actually the Adelaide Hills has got quite a few.
A lot.
Yeah. So you've got quite a lot of Italian influence, particularly in Victoria. You've got King Valley, Dixon's Creek, those kind of regions are renowned for a lot of Italian winemakers. Del Zocco, I think, is out of there. De Bortoli. Obviously is a very Italian name. Steve De Bortoli's done a great selling job for his company there. You've got a whole myriad of Italian winemakers and Italian influenced winemakers. Amadio they're originally from Campania in Italy, and they translated Cash Amadio came to Australia 50 years ago now, and he's actually one of the major grape growers in Adelaide Hills. So it's not unusual to find his grapes being used in a lot of the wineries around the place. So, again, Sangiovese, I find it to be, if someone walks in and goes, I'm having pizza, what would I have? That's it.
Yeah.
That nails it. And for me, there's, at the end, you've got everything from entry level under El Nino Sangiovese up to really, really top end great Sangiovese coming out of Corriol, which is out of McLaren Vale, and you've got areas in between as well. So it's a good broad range, and in fact, at one point, that was our third biggest selling red wine in the store.
Fair enough.
It actually went
Really?
Shiraz,
When was
yeah,
that?
not long back, a couple of years back now.
Oh, good.
Shiraz, Cabernet, Shiraz, Pinot Noir, and Sangiovese.
Really? Cabernet
Yeah,
didn't even make it?
Cabernet didn't make it.
That's pretty good for a not so known about varietal getting bumping Cab Sav off.
Again, that was literally because Dan and myself
Yeah.
had tried it, liked it, suggested it with
Recommended it.
pizza, and people loved it. And
Yeah.
that consistent turnover of purchase is a really, really important thing. And that's what this is kind of what these tasting things are about. So you get your palate round that you know what you're talking about,
Yeah.
then, and people can come in and go, well, don't think come to the bar. I want a really good wine with blah blah. Oh, this one. We don't have it in here, but you can get it next
Yeah.
door and bring it in. Yeah.
Mm.
So yes. So Sangiovese,
I like it.
you like it?
It sits nicely on the back of your tongue. It's not too heavy. It's not too, for lack of a better term, thick.
Yeah.
And it just washes through. And again, you could have a fair few glasses of it.
This is the thing. Italian wines are generally very sessionable. There's only very few Italian wines that you would go, I'll only have a glass of, and this is the varietals as well.
Does that make it be like a cultural thing? Like, because they have
because
it with like a
they have
lunch.
They have it with
Like-
lunch. It's always food.
Yeah.
It's always food with Italian wines.
Yeah.
I sat down and ordered a glass of wine at a bar at an osteria, and I went, "Oh, just have a glass of wine to start with." And the guy's like, "What do you want to eat?" And, well, no, I'm gonna have a glass of wine and I'll think about it. And he's like, "What do you want to eat?" I'm like, "Can I just have a glass of wine?" He goes, "Yeah, you generally do that after the meals." Like,
Yeah.
well, yeah, just order a tasting thing. I ordered a tasting thing. So Ross and I sat down and had a glass of wine, actually being a bottle of wine, and then we ordered dinner after that.
Mm.
But we had something to eat with it because I think they recognise that their wines are sessionable. They're so easy to drink. They go down so easily. Whereas French wines generally look to be heavier or richer or more complex. So Bordeaux's are going to be more about, you'll have a bottle of Bordeaux, you won't have a dozen bottles of Bordeaux. But it's not unusual for in Italy to knock over a bottle of Sangiovese and then, or such you say a bottle of Chianti and then go on from there to something else. Maybe you'll have a Super Tuscan afterwards just to
How much was the
go there. Food was dirt cheap. Oh, it's
So
phenomenal.
if they're only making €2 a bottle,
Yeah.
they probably want you to eat.
Oh, no, no.
The money's
Yeah,
coming.
yeah,
Okay, in
yeah.
a restaurant, we would pay for the two of us approximately €25 for full lunch.
With the drinks.
No, with for the food. This is at a really good restaurant,
Yeah.
or a really good, or sitting on a place of piazza. If you weren't going to go, if you went to places, here are some rules. If you're travelling to Italy, rule number 1. It's very important rules. Remember this if you're travelling. 1. Never eat on a piazza. 2. Never eat next to a Duomo or cathedral or church. 3. Never eat in a tourist area for any reason at all. Never. 4. Find the most weird-ass place that a restaurant could be. This could be underground. This could be hanging off the edge of a cliff.
In the middle of a bridge.
In the middle of a bridge. Yeah, literally in the middle of a bridge. Look for the oddities and you'll find some of the best food ever. And don't order, if you recognise it, don't order it.
Oh, yeah, right.
Seriously, just go, mate, I'm here to
Like
have...
menu roulette. Just
Yeah.
that
No,
one.
I literally walk in and they'll go, who are you? I'll say I'm Australian, I don't know your language very well. And they said, what do you like? And I said, well, look, just bring me what you do really, really well. And you'll either get 2 types of restaurants. 1, the restaurant that goes, we're just going to sell you whatever we want to get rid of quickly.
Whatever's going out of there.
Yeah. Or 2, and this is 90% of the restaurants, is they will sell you what they do very, very, very well. And don't worry about ordering a glass of wine, order by the bottle.
Yeah.
And in fact, if you can, order the wine, the house wine, because the house wine is generally made by the people who own the restaurant.
Really? Like in the
absolutely.
bottle out back.
We were in Colliagani and we're sitting in a restaurant and I said, they got a wine list, and I said, what's locally produced? And he goes, we've got our own local wine that we make. Dad makes it, and I went,
Done.
bring me that.
Done.
And he said, what size would you like? And I went, yeah, bring us a bottle. And he's like, we don't do it by the bottle, we do it by the litre. I went, no, bring us a litre. And so he brought us a litre for the two of us. I did manage to stuff up. I managed to turn around and say, if I say the word quarto, it means 250 mils. If I say quattro, it's 4 litres. I confused those two terms, and we ended up with 4 litres of no. I was driving.
Not well.
4 litres of wine, and we nailed it. We did the whole lot. We did 4 litres.
The restaurant was in the middle of the bridge.
No, the restaurant was actually on a mountainside with a windy road to get
So you
back.
had to drive the gondola back down?
No, we
No,
I
he
drove
just,
the
he just
car.
let it put it in neutral.
Essentially, yeah, that's what it was. You can't book me now because you can't prove anything. But I literally drove back, and we kind of were lost. We kind of knew where we were going, but we kind of didn't. And it was just lucky I was very, very good at remembering vague directions of where we were going. We ended up back at the place we were staying, and we went to bed, and I woke up the next day, and Ross went, did we finish that wine? I went, yes. She said, did they look at us very funny when we paid? I went, yes. And she said, did we drive? I went, yes. She goes, you're an idiot. So I went, yes.
You didn't remember it, so it doesn't count.
No, but that being said though, we the wine for ordering that house wine type thing was really, really good, because you actually get to or ask the sommelier, what is it that this region does well, and he'll tell you, because they in Italy it's very parochial. They want to sell you the region, not just the country. So if you're in Campania, they will order a wine that's made in Campania. If you're down in Puglia, they'll say Primitivo or Negro Amaro. And if you say, I've never had a Negro Amaro, I want a really good one, they'll get you a really good one. If you're in Tuscany, you want to order a really good bottle of Chianti, they will actually recommend not just the most expensive, but what they consider the best. They're really, really, really good. You know, and most of the times I was eating at wineries, restaurants and things, so they would offer me good wines. I actually worked for a lot of them, and they were offering me good wines from that particular region, so it was great. So always try not to eat on a tourist trap, because you'll be charged ridiculous. We paid €110 for breakfast in Florence because we broke all the rules. The next night,
And you only got Vegemite on toast.
pretty much.
Smashed over.
No, we
Well,
ended
they're
up.
having Vegemite in Italy. This is fantastic.
Well, Vegemite would probably be as expensive over there.
Yeah, right.
But Nutella's cheap. Yeah, they make Nutella.
Yeah.
Anyway, we better get on to the next one because we've already just smashed away.
It was a good
45 minutes.
story.
It was a good story, yeah.
Travel tip. Trouble drinking chips.
Honestly, it's really important. Can you grab me a wine opener?
Can you?
Is Caliber
Caliber?
Brouhaha?
Yes.
Correct.
Wonderful. Okay.
Where is the...
That commercial is
Just
brought to you by
under-
Cody.
It's Caliber again.
Yeah. Free plugs for Brouhaha all afternoon, apparently.
Well, local brewery.
Yeah, fair enough.
Welcome to Matt Chikansky. So yeah, as I said, when it comes to travelling, it's easier to ask. You know, attempt to talk to them in their own language. It'll make life easier for yourself.
See.
And yes, you're
Surprisingly,
Doesn't work.
not a bad thing,
Yeah.
because Spanish and Italian is very similar. Actually, we started using some of the patios that we learnt there. So, Elora.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what Elora means?
Bring another one, or yes, it's good.
No. It just means like, okay.
Oh, yeah, well.
Or look at me.
So when I say bring another one, I'm not incorrect.
Yeah, no. But Elora is one of those things. So, literally, I was in Italy asking, all I could hear was, Elora! And it's like, what the fuck's Elora? So anyway, I turned around and I heard a teacher use it to a class. Elora! Or I'd listen to a taxi driver. Someone said something, and he'd go, Elora! It's a general affirmative.
These
yeah.
Elora girls must be very popular.
Yeah, that's what we thought too. So, and when I asked Italian people, they looked at me like, what? So what's Elora? And I went, what are you talking about? I said, everyone says it. And they looked at me like, you're an idiot, you have no idea what you're talking about. But I swear to God, it was like, Elora. And then finally I ran to someone and said, Elora. I went, okay,
Isn't that what I said?
there's a massive difference in my pronunciation, obviously. And they said, oh, no, it just means okay, or, I agree, or it's just a general term.
Just a general yes.
Yes. Now this is actually, I have tried this before and I really enjoyed it. I've wanted to show this to Pat and Dan for quite a while now.
Looks like teaspoon in
Yeah,
colour.
it's like really purpley.
This is Malbec. Now, Pat, well, the reason I'm picking on you is because this is your exam stuff.
Yeah.
Where was Malbec the first grown or originally grown? Where is it found, I should say?
I know it's predominantly Argentinian, but if it's
Originally though?
originally, you'd think it'd come from like Spain, perhaps, or France.
Lost and grapes.
Where in France? No, it's not lost, it's still used.
Just going by the colour, I think Bordeaux or.
Correct. It is one of the six. Well done, Pat. It is one of the 6 grapes that you can use in Bordeaux, which has been extended now. For red wine, in Bordeaux, you can use 6 grapes to be a Bordeaux wine. What are they?
Cab Sauv,
Yes.
Syrah.
No.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Malbec.
Yes. Another one beginning of them.
Maybe?
Correct.
Oh, yeah. Wouldn't be Pinot, that's more.
Mhm.
Where were we up to?
It's one of the lost grape varietals. Turned up in Chile. Begins with C.
Carmenere.
Mm-hmm.
And. All that now.
There's another Cabernet grape.
Another Cabernet.
Yep, because Cab Sauv is actually an amalgam of 2 grape varietals. Sauv Blanc,
Yeah.
which we get Sauvignon from,
Yeah.
and Cabernet
Franc.
Franc.
Cab Franc,
Correct.
yeah.
That's 5. The last one, and the last one's actually much more important than people actually give it credit for.
What's the first letter? Give us
P.
Keep it
Petit Verdot.
Yeah.
Little Verdots.
Good work, Pat.
Yeah, I only need a little bit of hint. I hope they're giving me those hints in the
No, you
exam.
don't. You get no hints.
Yeah.
So,
There's no guy with flashcards standing
Why?
with the camera going.
why is Petit Verdot a really important grape in Bordeaux?
Because it's small.
Petite.
Okay, this is actually this is a bit too hard. This is ridiculous. I'm sorry. That's the question. That's a bit of a bitch of a question. Okay,
I'm guessing it's to add something in the blending. So.
sort of. So when you actually plant grapes in Bordeaux and actually anywhere in the old world, because you're trying to get ripeness and fruit coming out, there's a certain each grape varietal ripens at a different time. So early in the vintage, it's just Merlot, then you've got Cab Franc, and then you've got Cab Sauv, and then you've got Malbec, and then Carmenere, and then finally Petit Verdot. If you get a wine that has got a lovely ripe Petit Verdot, it means it's been a very, very good vintage for Bordeaux. So if you can identify the characters of Petit Verdot, if you're going to buy a Bordeaux wine, which you are going to pay hundreds of dollars for, if you can identify a good Petit Verdot in that wine, it means that vintage has been particularly good, and therefore that wine is well worth buying.
So. Do they sell Petit Verdot as a single varietal?
No.
Or? Okay, so there's no way to like.
There is, but you just have to go out and try it for yourself. You have to buy some straight Petit Verdots.
Oh, I'm gonna need to get a loan.
Yeah. But essentially, no, I'm talking about for Bordeaux buyers. Ones that buy en premiere, they will actually try the wines, and if they can identify Petit Verdot, good Petit Verdot in the wine, it means that vintage has been particularly good, because that means it's ripened well from start to finish. A lot of the times in in France, where Bordeaux is, the ripening time gets to a point just after Cabernet or around Cabernet picking time, and then rain comes in, or there's a problem with harvest, and they struggle to get ripeness in the fruit. They'll get a cool change comes in. If you can get a really lovely, consistent, long growth period followed by a really good harvest, Petit Verdot is actually, suddenly the winemakers got a lot of good Petit Verdot, they're going to blend into their good wines. And it actually is a really good indicator for how to pick a really good Bordeaux.
So would they blend more of the Petit Verdot?
Just getting more customers, everybody.
Oh, okay.
If they have a good wine.
Flies going out in your
Yeah,
wine.
let's see how good the wine is.
He won't drink much.
He's in now.
Oh yes, more protein.
Yeah.
So if they do have like, say it's not even like the best year, would they blend more of the Petit Verdot and just
No.
just
Because Petit Verdot is very intense with its colour and particularly intense with its flavours. When you've had a Petit Verdot, you'll understand what Petit Verdot brings to a wine. You will then realise that if they decide to just, we'll just throw some Petit Verdot, unripe Petit Verdot in there, it'll be very, very prevalent.
Oh, but I mean, even if they have a good year and it's, would they be tempted to
Throw more Petit Verdot in.
yeah, just to kind of highlight like that there's a good wine.
Sometimes, but I doubt it. No, they want to get a good balance of flavours in there.
What's good about this flying here is really aerating the wine.
It
When
is.
its wings flap, it's
Yeah.
amazing watching the it's great.
Actually, what we've done is we've proved that.
How'd you go, buddy? Let's just watch drunkflies.com. Oh, now he's dead.
He's dead. Anyway, for me though,
He died happy.
He died happy. Yeah, extremely.
He died doing what he loved.
It's like the guy that fell into the beer vat, and it's like we tried to get him out, but he fought us off. So Petit Verdot is really good. However, let's go back to what we're doing, which is Malbec. Malbec is a Bordeaux grape originally. Where is it found now? Predominantly
Argentina.
Argentina. Why would Argentina be a good growing region for wine generally?
I'm guessing temperature because it sit lower than us on the really.
Think about Australia, South America, this area here, by the way, Brisbane's here,
Yeah.
so our growing region for wine is here. Why would this area be good to grow wine in Argentina? There's one major reason.
Pacific like
No, there's no Pacific cooling air because of one major reason, which is the reason that it is very good.
mountain range.
Yes, which one?
Uh,
Come on, you know it. Andes.
Andes, yeah.
So the
Aldi's.
The Aldi.
Plug for Aldi, everybody. Well done.
Plug for a German.
By the way,
chef.
special this week, huh?
So the Andes are really, really high. So the highest vineyards in the world are actually found in Argentina. And the reason that they have those highest vineyards, and particularly Salta and places like that, most of Argentinian wine is grown around a place called Mendoza, and that's because of the altitude.
That one's actually got Mendoza on the label, I think.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's Mendoza. So it's the altitude. The higher elevations give a cooling, nice long thing. The mountains also protect from rain, and so you get what's called the mountain shadow, which protects from massive storm fronts coming through. So therefore it's getting the best of both worlds in that sort of region.
Hey, Davey.
Davey!
Davey.
Ah! No, I've actually, just to let Davey know, I've contacted a couple of wineries on his behalf, and so you've sent me the dates. I will forward those on. You'll be getting, the wineries will contact you directly, and they'll organise something with you. Well done. That being said though, so Mendoza, Argentina, is a particularly good region for Malbec, and in fact it's probably the classic region for Malbec in the world now. So what do we think of the Malbec we've got?
It's delicious.
Yeah. It is probably, I've tried a lot of Malbec from the region, and I have to say this one here, particularly for the price point, it's phenomenally good. This is a reserva, so Malbec.
Is it a DOC?
No, there's no DOCs. There's no appellations outside of the Old World.
Oh, really?
So the Old World, which is Spain, France, Italy, Germany, for the most part, and Greece.
So Argentina's like
Argentina's it's a New World. It's part of the New World, obviously. It is a New World for grapes. So New World is obviously South Africa, New Zealand, Australia, Chile, Argentina, Nicaragua, US,
Nicaragua are great.
Uruguay.
Yeah.
Not Nicaragua. Uruguay,
Yeah.
which is the same area. But all those guys are the New World.
Yeah.
Okay, so New World and Old World. There's always a discussion about that. So in the New World, particularly, this is a New World Malbec. They don't have appellations because we have a lot more freedom with how we grow and how we blend it and all the rest of it. As long as we follow the international policies of 85%, that means if we say it's Malbec, it's got to be at least 85%. If we're saying it's coming from a region, it's got to be at least 85% from that region. There is actually quite a heavy stricture on alcohol percentage. So you export that wine overseas. In Australia, you've got a 1.5 variance you can use, but if you're exporting that wine, it's 0.5.
Right.
So you have to be really on the ball
Yeah.
for it. You can't tick around with that kind of stuff.
Well, just got to label it correctly.
Well, label it correctly. Yeah, but you can't just go 14 and a half and it's 15 and a half.
Yeah, right.
Otherwise, someone has a problem, they trace it back to that wine, they find that wine is actually 1 full percent above, they will actually fine you massively.
Yeah, right.
So labelling is really important. So, this one though, we do try in the New World to give an indication of the quality of fruit. How do we do that?
In the New World.
Even in Australia, we try to give an indication of the quality of the fruit and the quality of the wine we sell. How do we do that? Think about how.
Pretty labels.
Yeah, printed labels are handy, but that's more of a marketing thing.
Well, there's nothing.
We use some words.
But sometimes it's there written on the bottle, but very rarely.
No, but we use some words. What words are they?
Use your words like a big boy.
Full-bodied.
Reserve,
Yeah.
estate,
Yeah.
Oh.
single vineyard,
Single vintage.
a vineyard, a single vineyard.
Williams.
Yeah. Pardon?
McWilliams.
I'm
Red
gonna,
label.
I'm going to hit you right now. So these are terms that are used overseas in the old world, and of course, if you are trying to sell your wine to the old world, you want to be able to explain to them what level. So this one here. So this is Finca El Origin. This is their Reserva, the state range. So what this literally means is this is their reserve wine or their estate range wine. They do have they do have a lower tier than this. I have tried it. I would call it their entry level wine.
Yeah.
Whereas this one with the word Reserva on it would suggest this one is going to be of better quality.
Yeah.
And it is. It's a much better
Is
quality.
there one lower just called the estate range? Or?
No, the one lower than that is actually it's Finca El Origin, but it's actually just got like a name to it. There's nothing saying Reserva or estate to it. So we try, and unfortunately, this is where the old world does have it over us a little bit. If we use the word Reserva on it, we can use Reserva on McWiggins.
McWilliams Reserve.
McWiggins Reserva. So therefore we are a little bit more open to abuse. Over there though, if you say the word Reserva in any of your Italian wines or even your Spanish wines, if that's not your Reserva, you'll get taken to task for it. So, this is their Reserva Estate Malbec, and this is an absolute humdinger for me. I really
It's
like
delicious.
it. It is. For a $25 wine,
Yeah.
it's outstanding.
Killing it.
A little bit of like licorice or something.
Yeah, aniseed, licorice. It's got lots of dark fruits. The tannin structure it's there. It's
It
quite
hangs around a lot longer than the other ones
Oh,
we've
yeah.
had so far. Right?
It's gripping. It's got some really lovely tight tannins to it. I find this to be a great little wine, and in fact, I wanted to do a Malbec class. We've done several Malbecs over the last few months, so we thought I will spread it out a bit. But at some point, I think we might have to revisit and go through Malbecs
At different price points.
at different price points to see what quality levels are.
I can see why they use this in blending as well. Like
Yeah.
GSM.
Yeah.
Add like the body to it.
No, they wouldn't use it for GSM. It's more Fedra or Mataro.
Not,
Yeah.
couldn't
Even
use
if you had a
Malbec.
wine,
You could,
just hit the front end,
you probably
can't
wouldn't.
open and go back.
But what you do is Cabernet.
Yeah.
No.
Because this has got a little bit of forward fruit to it as well. So this would actually highlight, because Cabernet doesn't have a great deal of forward fruit, This does actually push a little bit forward fruit to it. It also has a rounded mid palate as well. So where Cabernet has quite a dead mid palate, this actually fills out the mid palate with those
So it kind of
darker
acts like a
fruits.
Shiraz.
More like a Merlot to fill out that mid palate. And then it still has enough tannin and structure to give backbone for Cabernet, which has got a lot of backbone to begin with. So this is actually a really cracker of a one.
I like it.
And this is why it's known as Cabernet. A lot of times it's known as Cabernet, which is a very Bordeaux thing to do.
It's actually really nice.
It's one of those wines, it's a bit of a sleeper. People that love Malbec really love Malbec. We've done Zontes, we've done Bleasdale. What's the other one we did? Zontes, Bleasdale, another one.
Didn't they have a Malbec in the AIWW?
No, this is ARWW.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
this is mixed. So again, great little wine. We really like the wine company that imports this and brings it in. And in fact, they're one of my best wine companies I deal with. So happy to sell this out all day long. The problem is though that, and this is something that Dan and myself do suffer from, is we kind of forget.
How good it is.
Well, yeah, until we retry it.
One very good hope, they have Malbec?
No, they're a Pinotage.
No.
So,
See, Pat's
yeah.
got all the answers right today.
Damn, nothing. Tip from Zip,
Yeah.
seriously.
But in the end, though, I have to say that reviewing these wines and revisiting the wines is really important, and I really enjoy them.
Well, it's not something I'd go and pick up off the shelf myself and go, I'm going to have a bottle of Malbec.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a bit
I've
of a
never
shame.
said that, Dan, actually. I'm going to have a bottle of Malbec. I usually go Cab Sav or Merlot or something like that, and that's actually...
That's it. It's a cracker of a
delicious.
wine. It's really good. So yeah, it's good, and it's got those. So again, let's look at it in terms of balance. Is it balanced?
Yeah.
I think it is. Yeah. What's the length like? Because it hasn't finished.
It hangs around
It
it.
hangs around a bit.
Yeah, it's quite long.
The intensity of the flavours. So is the wine intense or is it watery?
No, it's got a lot more body. It's
Yeah,
all
intensity.
intense. Yeah.
Complexity. Well, we already named. We had 4 different flavours just on the chatting that we did.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's complex. Is it typical of Malbec? Definitely. Is it got the wow factor? Probably.
Alright.
It's probably on the cusp for me. Yeah, it's a 50-50 for me. It's great. It's a lovely wine. Does it have that wow? No, probably not. But it's very few Malbecs that I've had that wow factor. That being said, though, it's balanced. It's got nice length to it. It's intense. It ticks those boxes.
Yeah.
This is probably a very good wine. I wouldn't say it's exceptional.
No, it is.
It's probably on the cusp of being exceptional, but I think this is a very good wine.
This would age better than the others.
Yeah, the aging ability on this is great. I mean, this is 2018. I'd love to see that in about 3 years, where I think some of the tertiary characters would have built on it, and it would have just been delightful. So yeah, so
Make it a date.
make it 3 years time.
Put a bottle somewhere.
Back in 3 years, so we'll
Put the cork back in it.
No.
When does that ever happen?
Yeah, to be fair, if you're going to open it.
Yeah,
No.
once it's open, it's gone.
Now we're going to go on to the last one. Now I want someone to tell me,
Oh, I'm good, thanks.
anybody who, well, Pat should know because I didn't tell him this, but where does the grape for this wine come from?
What is it?
Tinta Barocca.
Oh, well, I know if you're feeling a bit hungover, you can put 2 in a glass of water, they fizz up and...
That's not a bad idea. No, but Tinta,
Tinta.
the actual name Tinta is pretty much the giveaway for this.
And then it tints you wheat.
Tinta means coloured or red. Close. It's the Iberian Peninsula, but it's not Spain. Barocca, Tinta Barocca. It's nowhere near the Iberian Peninsula. What's the other part of it? What's near Spain?
Portugal.
That's it.
Yeah.
This is a Portuguese grape variety.
You know stuff, Pat.
Yeah, see?
He just goes to sleep staring at a map of the world every night, throwing darts going in, he's going to ask me a question about...
This.
Well, they only have like pretty much like 2 schools.
There's only 2 countries.
Yeah, so I had one.
Actually, don't laugh. One of the exam questions that I have read and I did a practice exam for was, these wines all come from the Iberian Peninsula. Identify them and the region they came from. One was Tempranillo, one was Garnacha, one was
smells a bit meaty.
Not Tintorioras, which is a Tempranillo. It was actually Tinta Cow, and the other one was Albarino.
Tipping cows.
Albarino.
Oh, I really yeah.
So Albarino is actually Rias, which is in Spain. Then you've got Tempranillo, which generally comes from Rioja. Ganacha, which can come from Rioja, but I actually said this one's from Aragon. And the last one was Tinta Cow, which is actually a
Tinta Cow,
which is a it was Tinta Franca, not Tinta Cow. Tinta Franca, which was actually a Portuguese grape. Now, these wines here are taken from cuttings from Portugal, transplanted into the Riverina region in Australia, grown by Alex from Ricaterra, and he's produced one. Ricaterra is also the guys that produce grape varietals for Alejandro.
Ah.
So this is the guy that grows the grape varietals for Alejandro,
It's different, isn't
which is coming.
Yeah.
There's something different on it.
This is a really different wine.
It's gone back to lighter again. This is a lot more watery and
Definitely front of the tongue this time.
I don't know about watery.
well. It doesn't
In
have
comparison to the
body.
Malbec,
It's
yeah.
literally tickling the front of my tongue.
This one has got some really,
There's a different
there's some
smell
real
in it.
flavours
What is it?
running into it. Like there's lots of black fruits to it again.
Yeah, I get like the
Yeah,
like,
darker.
But it's not juby like the Malbec
no.
was. It's really, I like it. It's got that sort of
it's like a big juicy blackberry or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
a juicy blackberry to it. It's
Actually,
got a
makes
bit
your
of
tongue
water.
Yeah. Like not like a real sweet, the
Yeah.
sweeter
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. So this has also got some really lovely tannins to it, which are quite tight.
Doit.
Tight tannins.
Very sexual.
Tight
Very
tannins.
doit.
It's quite drying.
Yeah, finishes dry.
It's also got quite a good bit of acidity to it, because my cheeks are watering like
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes your mouth water, doesn't it?
It's coating the palate.
This is
Even your cheeks.
Yeah,
It gets over here, doesn't it?
yeah. Well, that's how you tell acidity is your cheeks begin to water.
Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. That's the way to tell acidity. If you're trying anything and your cheeks begin to water really, really hard, that's high acidity.
What if you start crying?
That's usually you've drunk something you shouldn't have. Either you've drunk too much.
Too much, yeah.
I'm sorry, my mother never.
Oh, you guys.
Yeah, it's never a good thing. But no, higher acidity. The intensity of flavour is actually quite. It's a medium-bodied wine, so I don't expect it to be really smash you in the face type thing. But this is a really lovely wine, and this is what if you go to Portugal and have just their taverna wine. So you're sitting in the taverna and go, "Can I have whatever you make?" Literally, they'll take a jug, dip it into a vat at the back, and bring it out to your table.
Don't worry about COVID.
Yeah, forget COVID. That's nice and easy. Well, alcohol kills it. Yeah. So this.
Well, that's
is
why I haven't got it.
Yeah, see,
Fair enough.
This is
Fair
why.
enough,
Yeah, cured. But I do find this wine particularly interesting enough because it doesn't taste like anything that we've had before.
No.
No.
It really doesn't.
No, it doesn't. You're right.
Yeah. And you really need to, in life, you really need to try and experience as many different things as possible because let's face it, when you die, it doesn't matter how many toys you got, but it doesn't matter. Your memories and your remembrances are probably more
When
important.
you
to me.
die, you don't think you can have any memories of it.
Oh no, man! I'd like to think that when I die, I'll just re-experience everything that I really enjoyed. Yeah. But that being said, though, I really like this wine. It's actually there's another wine that Ricaterra does that we normally have, but I haven't seen the rep for a little while. But I probably should send him. We need some bullets over cannonballs, which is a blend of Tinta Barocca and some Tinta Riojas.
Either that or a very bad day out, you can choose. Like,
Yeah. But no, I really like this one, and it's a great food wine. If you want to have tapa or any sort of
Olives.
little meatball olives, actually those
Finger
smoked
foods,
olives, yeah, those smoked olives. Oh, yeah, this is the kind of stuff that I think really should have. You can have your big steak with this as well.
Well, it's actually
I'd love
really.
I'd love it like a seasoned steak with like
Yeah.
like flaming chicken, like the Portugal style, like
Yeah,
flaming chicken.
yeah.
Mushrooms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mushroom. Oh
It's
yeah.
like smoking mushrooms.
Yep. So again, this wine
Smoked
is
garlic.
an
Yeah.
old world, meant to be had with food, and really should be had with food. I mean, like I really struggle to understand why we do what we do in Australia. We just go, yeah, let's drink. And I've got no problem with let's drink, but
Well, it's probably like just a culture built off slave,
Of slavery.
Wrong place, mate.
what do they call it? Prisoners.
Yeah, prisoners.
Oh,
Yeah.
To be fair.
Convicts.
yeah.
Actually, here you go. Here's a trivia question for you. This one's never turned up in Wetset. What was the first currency of Australia?
Rum.
Oh, stop it, you. Yes, it's quite correct.
Yeah.
And what actually happened? Why was rum stopped as being a currency?
Because money came
Well,
out.
they couldn't control
No.
it. They couldn't tax it or control it.
There's a reason they couldn't tax it, control it. What was it?
Oh, I don't know the answer to that
Because
question.
the Irish people that were brought over started making it.
Oh, right.
And the Irish were going like, oh yeah, sure, this is rum.
So,
We'll just make our own.
We'll make
Yeah.
our own.
We got sugar cane and
Yep.
yeah.
Molasses, and that's
Yeah.
it.
they basically did when you make fake notes and just started their own currency.
Essentially, that's what they were doing. So they were counterfeiting rum.
That's the
So-
word I was looking
Yep.
for. I couldn't find it. It wasn't
So
in
where was rum coming from at that point?
England.
English Navy.
No,
Oh.
English Navy, but where were they getting it from?
Oh, the West Indies area.
No, it would have been.
Jamaica, man.
Jamaica. So you're actually looking at the Caribbean.
Because of the
Ah.
sugar.
So the Caribbean was where they had all the sugar, sugar cane, and
Yeah.
honestly, they were producing sugar to send back to Europe, and the molasses, which is a leftover waste product, was
Yeah.
being turned into rum.
Mm.
And particularly on the Demerara River, they actually produced a lot of rum and distilled it, and that's where the English Navy was drawing a lot of their rums from. And
How
so
did they work that out? Was it just one big accident? Some
kind of. Yes, I guess it was, but let's face it, when you are poor and you need to make things, you learn to do it yourself.
But the molasses must have been.
Oh, they were throwing
left
molasses
somewhere,
away.
Yeah.
Left
They-
sitting somewhere.
In
and
fact,
fermented and-
in Jamaica particularly, they would throw the molasses into a place called what's called a dunder pit, D-U-N-D-E-R. So it was a pit, and it would ferment in the dunder pit, and so it would turn into a
pigs were probably drinking it and getting pissed.
This
Porter
pig tastes
Yeah.
amazing.
this is the greatest pig ever. But they would actually, and then they actually went, then all this molasses get dumped in a pit. It's beginning to ferment a little bit. What if we actually take it and then ferment it and then distill it? What a great idea! And out comes this really fruity
Yeah.
flavour. Because what happens with the dunder pit is actually the more dundered rum you've had, the more fruit that gets into it, and you get like hints of pineapple, banana, and all these other flavours that you see in rum. In the Demerara River, though, which is in Guyana, they actually started producing a very high strength alcohol. Because what the British Navy used before rum was cognac.
Yeah.
And why didn't they use cognac after that? Because
Because
they were at war with the
yeah.
French.
Yeah.
So, hey, can we buy some cognac from you? No. Screw you guys, you smell like elderflower.
Yeah.
So essentially that was what happened. So in Australia, they brought rum, obviously because that was on all English Navy ships. And that was the main currency they were parting to the Australian public. So we're talking convicts, landowners were used to buy rum quite a lot, and they would pay their people in rum. So of course, when the Irish started opening stills,
Literally counterfeiting.
literally counterfeiting it, what was the main thing that the rums from Caribbean to the rums in Australia? And this is basically a curio term turned up from this.
White rum? Or...
No. When you get drunk, you get
Hungover. Yeah, that's what.
no, not pissed.
No, hungover's different.
No. One more thing. When you're drunk, really, really drunk, you are
Arrested.
yes. That also happens, but you get blind.
Oh,
And when you get blind,
yes.
I thought that was just for the
Moonshine.
the methanol.
it is methanol.
methanol.
So
Yeah.
when the Irish were counterfeiting
Oh,
this
yeah,
rum,
okay, yeah.
they didn't give a rat's ass about taking the methanol out. So you'd be sitting
Yeah.
down, you drink, and you get blind.
Yeah, so they'll sell
Literally
people
blind.
Hungover,
drink to
you
get them
told
blind.
me what hungover is.
Yeah.
Show me the photo.
Yeah,
Moonshine.
like they would drink, sell them a drink to get them blind, then
Yeah.
rob them blind,
Yeah.
and then be convicts again.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So that was it, and it wasn't unusual for people to like convicts because the prison system isn't the same as it was today. The prison system was you got sent out, you walked down the road to the station, you'd work at the station, they would pay you, and either they pay you in coin or in rum,
Right.
which was cheaper to get. Well, you go to the Irish and buy the rum from the Irish, you'd pay in the rum, the guy would walk halfway back to Sydney,
Get robbed.
and then go, I'm going to drink my rum, and end up blind drunk. They couldn't see. So
And then
that is how it happened.
Captain
actually happens-
Thunderbolt would come along, rob him.
Not quite. He was a few years later.
Oh, right.
But what actually happens when you get blind? So why do you go blind when you drink methanol?
No idea.
I usually just assume you do dumb shit that makes you
No,
blind.
it actually.
No, it is a literal thing.
Must go affect your nerve endings or something.
Close. It affects your blood capillaries in your eyes. They actually can get really tight. They shrink. So you constrict. So you can't see. Your literally your eyes.
Is it a temporary
lack
thing?
blood.
Or is
No,
it-
well it is.
Yeah.
But if you do it consistently, it damages the
Yeah.
capillaries.
Yeah,
The capillaries break. You get bloodshot eyes all the time. And what actually happens is eventually you don't get blood to your eyes,
Yeah.
and therefore you go blind.
You basically give your eyes a heart attack.
Yeah.
Ah,
Nice.
So that's why blind. So that's
that's a nice.
I don't know quite how we got short from Portugal.
Yeah.
It's Portugal.
Well done,
Blind.
everybody. There you go. There's another tangent.
That's a good
Just
tangent
Google
there.
tangent, everybody. There's one.
Segue. Segue. for that.
That's a happy note to finish the
Oh,
episode.
yeah.
Anyway.
So
And
just
that's
remember,
how we all
yeah.
died. Same as the redness in the nose and the
Yeah.
cheeks every now and again too. The same thing.
Yeah, actually, that's what happens when you drink too much. We haven't done that yet, but we're going to give it a
That's
shot
cool.
today. So, anyway, I'd like to thank you all for
Thank you for
a really good year, particularly good for us. We've actually had a really good time. Doing these things on Wednesday keeps us sane, and essentially in liquor. And Pat will hopefully take this next year onto his exams. And
pass.
yeah, well, you better pass, because I mean, if you go
The amount of research you've done, Pat.
seriously, I'm going to be called. I'll call Marty and say, "Why didn't Pat pass?" And he goes,
He didn't
"He
research
didn't
enough."
actually research enough." I'm like, "That's a lie. It's an absolute lie."
Well,
I saw how researched he was.
yeah, I was by research last night.
Anyway, so I'd like to thank you all for tuning in this year. Thank you for supporting us, and
Happy manure.
yeah, happy New Year. We'll happy to see you in the new year. So, cheers.
We might not be allowed out.
Cheers. Oh, shut up.
Now it's the sound healing session, everybody.
Oh.
Just don't break the good ones.